Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Before we proceed, can I request everyone in the audience to please maintain the decorum of the hall and please maintain silence throughout the debates. We'll start with the School of Arts and Social Sciences, the next debate. Without further ado, I would like to invite Kenny and Kiara to please come and take their place on the stage. Next, I would like to invite the OBs for School of Arts and Social Sciences, Ariel and Imam, to please come and take their place on the stage. Thank you. Respected candidates and OBs, before we proceed, I'd like to inform you of the format for the debate today. It will start by intro from the EC, which is ongoing. Then we'll proceed to opening statements by the candidates. Then we'll move on to questions from the OBs. Then we'll move on to questions from the audience. And then we'll conclude with the closing statements by the candidates and closing statements by the EC. I would like to remind the OBs that the time for Q&A is 15 minutes. I'll inform you when your time is up. So without further ado, I would like to invite the candidates to please start their opening statements. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, office bearers, election committee, and Monashians. We stand before you today with a sense of purpose and commitment to the ideals that define the School of Arts and Social Sciences. We represent the Akiras Party in this election for the School of Arts and Social Sciences representatives. I'm Kiara Raylan, currently a Year 2 Semester 1 student doing the Bachelor of Arts and Social Sciences. As someone who was in the subcommittee of SAS, I possess the necessary skills and speak with experience of how things work within MUSA, resulting in my abilities to lead and make changes where it feels necessary. Here with me is Kenny.
Hi, I'm Kenny Ko, Year 1, Semester 2, doing the Bachelor of Digital Media and Communication. Speaking from the experience of leadership, during high school, a leader needs to possess the traits of understanding and humility, especially when in a position of SAS representative. Therefore, with our experience from leadership and subcommittee, Kiara and I balance each other out to achieve our shared goals for SAS. We believe in fostering an environment that celebrates diversity, where our collective powers propels us forward. Now, we will talk about our manifesto. Firstly, we want students to feel represented and heard our decision-making process, and we aim to provide them with a platform that allows them to communicate freely, such as an anonymous suggestion box. We believe that an active two-way communication is a critical factor to help and ensure the needs of our SAS students and to improve students' participation. Secondly, we plan to make our social media not only a tool for the promotion of events, but also a platform that encourages interaction, feedback, and suggestions. We want students to find our content interactive and personal. We aim to build an online community for SAS students through social media and make students involved and represented. Thirdly, building a connected school community enhances the support and well-being of students, increasing engagement and learning opportunities while collaborating with others. Not only does this improve students' turnout, but it also allows students to interact outside of their school. Now, Kiara will continue with the manifesto.
Next, we want students to feel comfortable regardless of their race, religion, gender, sexual identity, etc. So for us, building an inclusive community is of utmost importance. We are aware of the diversity that Monash has to offer, and therefore inclusivity and representation matters. We will do so through our anonymous Padlet, where students can safely voice out their opinions and report issues if they have any. Lastly, as students ourselves, we are aware that poor mental health really affects students' academic progress. Therefore, to tackle this problem, we want to create a healthy and supportive environment for students to help their well-being. We aim to have extracurricular activities, events, and spread awareness to aid them with the necessary tools to help improve and continue a healthy well-being. Thank you for listening, and I will pass the floor back.
To the moderator.
Thank you, candidates. Now we'll proceed to Q&A by the OBs.
Testing. Hello. Hello, Kara. Hello, Keen. Thank you for that opening statement. As for our question, so based on your manifesto, the first one where you emphasize on open communication channels, how do you exactly want to give a platform for the students to interact with the SAS representatives, given that we already have existing platforms from the SAS faculty, that is Ask Mira?
Okay. Thanks for the question. And we feel like because we are lack of the social media preference on our platform, so given that we already have the Instagram and the WhatsApp community, we feel like we only use it to promote events and updates or notification only. We feel like we need to be more interactive with students and have a communicative presence, like a two-way communication. So like we can, by doing so, we will do it more on IG views, posts, surveys on IG stories. So like students won't feel shy to answering the question because it is anonymous. So we can have slightly a discussion with students, and if students wants to, how can I say it? Students can come forward to us to ask questions also by using our Instagram, our personal page. So to come forward to us.
And as for the Ask Mira part, for me, like when I personally use it, I find they take a while to respond, and it doesn't have that personal feel to it. And so if they write to us on Instagram, there is that personal touch. We can respond as fast as possible as well. So I think it makes it easier to connect and also easier to get what they want. And also sometimes Ask Mira gives you, like they just tell you, go to this, but you don't know how to get to that part that they're telling you to get to. Yeah, so pretty much more personal level.
Okay, thank you guys for your answers. So this is more like a follow-up question. So as mentioned in your second manifesto, you would like to utilize a few social media platforms, and then you mentioned about anonymous Padlet, Instagram, Telegram, and WhatsApp community. One of the reasons being that the communication channels right now don't really allow us to interact with students, right? So can you let us know how are you going to maintain consistency across all 4 platforms?
Okay, so for example, in the anonymous Padlet, it would just be anything they want to say that they might not say to our face, or they're shy to say it. And then for Instagram, it's obviously promotion of events, more interaction, like reels, polls, and stuff like that. And then we have Telegram, which I know it was a try and like tested thing, but we were planning if we do it with exclusive content, maybe we could have more people joining. And as for WhatsApp, we feel that it's good for communication, like announcements, and that's all it does as well. So there is no give and take. Yeah, it's just one way. It's like whatever the community admin says, that's it. But if they have feedback, we can't get anything either. Yeah.
Okay, that's a very good point again. So as you said, Telegram was a try and tested thing, right? And one of the issues that we face is that students, they are confused, like which platform should they go to get the most out of like the announcements, the infos, and all that stuff. Because you mentioned that you guys want to create more customized or like exclusive content on different platforms, right? So can you let us know, like which specific platform is that one, like students have to follow? Because there are students where, oh, I don't have Telegram, oh, I don't play Instagram. then that means they're going to be missing out on some information. So how are you going to deal with that?
Yeah, we prioritize Instagram. That's the one stop all your information you get. As for Telegram, I think we think that Telegram can be more education based, because WhatsApp has a lot of groups. Everything, group assignments, you're on WhatsApp. For any club and everything is also on WhatsApp. So if we can move from the WhatsApp community for SAS to Telegram, it could really kind of make it less confusing for the students, where you just get one source. And obviously a lot of people don't use Telegram, so then they would just have to follow our Instagram, because that's where all content will be on.
Just one follow-up question from your answers. Given that you also want to establish another channel, right, on Telegram, given that, as Ariel mentioned, we have these existing channels, how do you tackle that oversaturation of platforms for students to refer? Because if I'm a student and I have this handful of options that I can choose from, it might be overwhelming for me. So how do you plan to tackle that?
Okay, so I think we could transition from WhatsApp to Telegram to make it less confusing. But still, Instagram is our key thing. So as long as you follow our Instagram, you have everything. And hopefully we can transition from WhatsApp and we move to Telegram, because that's the one I want to, plan to make that the most used platform, yeah. That's right.
All right, thank you for your answers. Going to the next question. So this is specifically addressed to Keen. Given that you were not in MUSA, and you mentioned in your opening statement that your leadership experience from high school can compensate for your lack of experience. So maybe you can just tell us a bit, and also to the students of SAS, of what are your experiences in the past, and how can your leadership experiences help you as a good SAS representative?
Thank you, Imam, for the question. So I believe that being a leader, you should be approachable. It's an essential quality for a leader to have, especially with the position we hold as a SAS representative, because our sole purpose is to interact and represent students. Secondly, I think that being empathetic towards students, their viewpoints, their situation, and what they are facing will allows me to prioritize their well-being of students and how they feel about the faculty, their assignment, what they face. So besides that, I think that transparency is something I value in my leadership style, as students deserve to know what goes on in their school and to build trust within the SAS community. And lastly, an inclusive environment is to ensure that all the diverse views are heard and represented in our events, and also everyone feels like SAS students feels like they feel valued and understood. Yeah, this is what I felt.
Thank you, Keen, for that answer. Moving on, so in relation to the events that you might plan to formulate and develop, so one thing that is lacking and has been requested from students so far to the awareness of us, the representatives, is the fact that in the School of Arts and Social Sciences, there is a lack of career events, given that we have non-specialization in terms of our majors in comparison to the other schools. So do you have any plans in formulating one for the students next year?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Well, in simple terms, do you have plans in formulating a career event next year for the SAS students, given that there has been a handful of requests for a career event for School of Arts?
Okay, so in terms of academic events, we want to hopefully do SAS-specific career fair, CV workshops, help them with their LinkedIn, and also maybe a SAS alumni talk. Yep, that's all.
Follow-up to that. So given that there is already an availability of other schools and even the university giving an abundance of these opportunities for an event, right, for career workshops, I'm sure like even from the School of Business, even the clubs, right, the Club of Business and all of that. So how would you distinguish yourself exclusively as a School of Arts type of event where students can actually think about where they can end up in terms of an industry once they graduate in their schools?
Through the alumni talks, we could see how people who graduate from the with the Bachelor of Arts and Social Sciences or Bachelor of Digital Communications, what they did with their degree. Yeah, alumni talks, and also yeah, inviting experts as well. Yeah. SAS alumni talks.
Okay, thank you guys. This question is more of a follow-up to Kenny's answer. So you talked about transparency and then what are the qualities you have to have as a leader, right? So you guys talked a lot about the welfare of the students. So let me ask you, like, how do you plan to balance your subcommittee members' well-being and functionality at the same time? This is a question for the both of you. So. Okay, I would like to ask, like, how, 1 second, how are you going to maintain the well-being of your team and their functionality? Because there are times where, you know, like they get burned out and stuff like that, and then you will have like a lack of manpower, and then you have to step in, and then, but at the same time, you have to take care of your own well-being as well. So how are you gonna do that? What plans do you have?
Okay, so I think balancing, like understanding the work ethic of the subcommittee members that we have, because we are going to be picking them. So knowing their work ethic and how they are as people would really help understanding that. Doing routine check-ins on the subcommittee members as well, and seeing and asking them, do you feel like you're doing too much? Because sometimes we might overload them and we don't realize that we're overloading them. And so we could ask them, and also both of us keep in check of each other. He checks in on me and I check in on him. And then also, if he feels like I have too much on my plate, he could help me out. Or if he feels like I'm giving too much to, say, publicity or too much to events, then balance it out again. So it's all about communication, goes back to that.
Yeah, by adding what Kiara said, as Kiara mentioned, I believe like communication is a fundamental in the teamwork. So we feel like we need to have a clear communication with our subcommittee. As me and Kiara, we don't like want to keep something in our heart. We like to say up everything what we feel. How's the things going on? Like we plan things further up, plan things earlier. Like don't want everything last minute. So like we will have a better environment, like working together. Yeah, this is our question, our answer.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, let's see. So besides that, we have had students coming to us to because they are facing difficulties academically, and in SAS we don't really have like any like a buddies program or like mentorship program. So do you have any plans to have that initiative next year? If you do, can you let us know what would you like to do?
Well, we don't have any plans for it, but now that you've mentioned it, we will definitely look to it. And if students come up to us and tell us that we need some help with this, whatever they're struggling with in terms of academically, we're willing to help. You know, that's like we're there for the sole purpose of helping and easing whatever the students have struggles with. Yeah. So if they need it, we'll give it.
Okay, this will be the last question from us, the reps. So in your fifth manifesto, you emphasized on promoting student well-being, particularly on mental health. How do you make sure that this initiative and proposal doesn't overlap with the responsibilities of the welfare department?
Sorry. So, again, from personal experience, not everybody watches what the welfare posts or what welfare does sometimes. Right. But, I mean, we could collab with them, but we also do have like plans to collab with Monash Yoga Club to kind of do like a meditation session with the students. So yeah, we want to spread awareness through posters and reels. And if we can work with the welfare, it would be really nice. But because we want to check in on the SAS students itself, you know, it's important that we take care of SAS themselves. Yeah. So we would do like hand in hand, but specifically catered to SAS students. Yeah. Thank you.
Just to follow up, so you mentioned about how students don't really sometimes check up on them. Don't you think that that defeats the whole purpose and the hard work of the welfare department in promoting all of the initiatives that they have, especially that right now we see that they have the Wellness Week and all of that. So maybe like specifically, how can you not overlap with what they're doing? Yeah, and maybe like you can talk about a form of collaboration perhaps specifically.
Yeah. Well, if we're allowed to and if they're willing to, we want to collab with them because wellness again. And yeah. Do you have anything? Wellness, welfare.
I'm afraid the time's up. So thank you, OBs, for your questions. We'll proceed to questions from the audience. Can I ask you to come down, please? Mr. Ashwan, please.
All right, guys, so I'll just make it pretty quick. My first question is in regards to club collaborations, can you tell me what the appeal for clubs will be to collaborate with SAS, given SAS is one of the smallest schools? How do you guys plan to what do you guys plan to bring to the table that clubs cannot achieve on their own? And how will you ensure that the collaborations go smoothly? First part is basically what's the appeal for clubs to collab with SAS?
It's a very, very good question. Well, the appeal.
Question. I feel like we want to make everyone welcome and comfortable regardless of their race, religion, gender, identity. So as such, we want to collab with other clubs or schools, faculty like School of Business, School of yes, other schools. So like we can build an inclusive community that ensure equal participation and guarantee every student feels represented and recognized, so they can, because we are aware of the diverse cultures and peoples attending the Monash. So
The question, like, what's the appeal for clubs to collaborate with SAS? Like, what does the club gain by working with SAS?
Well, firstly, they can socialize. So there's meeting people from outside your school, and also building more connections. And I think they can benefit through this. I don't know.
so like students won't be so stressed on their
No,
academic.
that's not the question. Move.
I'll just move on to the next question. I'd say for the first question, maybe the specific target that you guys have for SAS students, maybe you're able to bring in more SAS students to that club's portfolio. That could be something you guys could offer as well. So I'll move on from that question. In regards to feedback channels, how will you ensure that students actually want to utilize these platforms, given that too many feedback channels may hinder response rates, and SAS already has the ESSF and the SETU survey? What is your approach to making sure students actually utilize your feedback platforms?
Our feedback platform would be less serious. It's more of like check-in and kind of asking them more like suggestions, or like if they have anything they want to tell us. So like if they have opinions, remarks, or suggestions for us.
Okay, so your feedback platform's more towards like the SAS representatives than
Yes.
the course material
Yes,
itself,
yes,
right?
yes.
Great. I also want to ask a bit more. This one's directed for Keen. You talked earlier about creating an inclusive environment in SAS. So would you say that the current environment in SAS is not inclusive, and can you elaborate on the reason why and tell me how you plan to solve this issue?
Thank you for those questions. We feel like SAS in order to create a more participative culture in students, so we encourage students to, by highlighting the benefits of their joining, so
All right, so earlier Keen mentioned that he wants to create an inclusive environment in SAS. So would you say that the current environment in SAS is not inclusive? And can you elaborate on the reason why and tell me how you plan to solve this? The question's open to both of you now, by the way, not just Keen.
the environment is not, I didn't mean that it's not inclusive. I mean like we can improve the environment by making more events like for diverse cultures, like different from, because I have a friend like from East Malaysia also, so maybe they have hardship, like they don't know, they are not familiar with the places in KL. So like we feel like we need to be more more kind and more concerned to all of the students, and by doing so we can help out. They can come through us as come through as to us as a come through us to help, so we can help out for them if they encounter any issues. Yeah.
My last question is that given that this is a shared position, how do you guys plan to ensure that there's no power imbalance and that workload is shared equally between both of you?
Yep. Communication is key. We plan to most likely be like part of everything. So events will be there together. Publicity will do it together. And then anywhere else that needs filling, we'll do it as well. But balancing each other out would just be our weaknesses and strengths. So where I'm stronger at, I'll do those. And wherever he's stronger at, he'll do that. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. Any further questions from the audience? Can I ask you to come down, please? Thank you.
Hello. My first question would be for Kiara. You have mentioned implementing an anonymous suggestion box. Wouldn't you agree that having that is going to be a recipe for disaster? For example, the Monash confession page, where people run amok and attack anyone they might not see eye to eye.
Yeah, I mean, definitely that's a big concern, but we can also filter out what we see is, inappropriate. Maybe put a disclaimer as well that inappropriate things will not be entertained. This is for serious and necessary only reasons, yeah. So filtering it out is what we would do.
Okay, but then wouldn't you think let's say some of the questions that they actually put up might be serious, so how would you differentiate from that? Some may be attacking others just for the sake of it, and the others could be actual serious allegations.
Yeah, so say for example the serious allegations, right? We could ask the person to reach out to us for us to potentially help them.
Right, but
direct them to the right places.
Isn't it anonymous? So how would you
Yeah.
know?
So we would say every once a month or every few weeks, we check the inbox, and then we'll post online, on our Instagram, and we'll say, here's what people have said and stuff like that. And then when there is something that really stands out, and it's say for example the allegation that you said, then we would say, please reach out to us.
Okay.
And if it's serious enough, this person would reach out and ask for the help they need, and we can help them, direct them to the right places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so since you answered that question, I'll just leave with the advice that we have our office premises generously offered by Monash for students to drop in and reach out to us with any queries or any suggestions or whatever they have so that we can help them out. So do ensure that you use the office space as well and don't just rely on the anonymous Padlet.
Yep. Yeah. Thank
That's
you.
it.
Thank you for the question. Any further questions from the audience?
Right, I'll make this short and quick. So you guys have a strong focus on events, which is good. But for a smaller school like SAS, student engagement is key because it can be challenging at times, and I get that. I just want to know what do you guys as SAS reps will do different to what MUSA Publicity does in order to engage students in specific events, and do you guys have a detailed strategy in place? Please do ask me if you want me to rephrase.
First part.
All
I can
right,
get.
so as per your previous point where you said that MUSA Publicity might not be as effective because people might quote unquote not see them and whatnot. So what do you guys as SAS reps plan to do differently for all the events that you plan to host potentially in the next sem?
So based off my events officer experience right now as a subcommittee in SAS, we tend to do incentives to encourage people to come, and also we promote the event well in advance so they can kind of plan it out in their schedule.
Short follow-up, what incentives?
Oh, like say for example, if we're providing free food,
Oh,
we would say free food, guys, come.
Alright.
Or if we're doing like we're giving vouchers or something, basically anything that would entice the student to come.
With
and make
budgetary
them-
constraints, is that feasible?
Sorry.
With budgetary constraints, is that feasible? Always?
If we plan our budget right, we should be okay. Yeah.
All right. I won't take much of your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Any further questions from the audience?
Hello. So two questions. Number one, what is advocacy to you? That's the first question. Number two, given that school representatives, a lot of representatives have talked about events, talk about publicity, all this kind of stuff. Obviously, that's on the student engagement part, but advocacy is also actually essentially the root of a school representatives. So given that the SAS faculty and also the students are two parties, essentially, and you are considered the mediator between the faculty and the students, a lot of people have been emphasizing, oh, we need to look after the students. But essentially, that's not always the case. Lecturers also have their own problems and things that they would actually like the student representatives to understand. And it's not always the lecturers are in falsehood or they're actually doing things wrongly. Sometimes the lecturers do indeed have their own justification, just that the students don't understand. So in short, given that you have the faculty to meet their requirements and demands, while also balancing with student demands, you as a school representative, how would you actually leverage based on these two parties?
Okay. So firstly, we're representing students, so it's always the main priority is students. And then when it comes to the reasons from the lecturers, of course, if they're valid, then like definitely we'll listen to it, kind of try to see both sides to the story, and then tell both parties accordingly. But basically, we do represent the students mainly. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe a follow-up. So this is in regards to how you deal in terms of transparency, because obviously there are students who are very insisting of their opinions and they felt like the school assembly does not do enough to actually address problems and also solutions to the faculty. So when it comes whereby things can never be done or situations that has to go in a certain aspect or a certain route, how would you actually try to assure this to the students and also try to tell them that the steps have been made, we have tried our best, and the students at the very least should acknowledge the fact that this has to go this way?
Yeah. So as you said, transparency is really important. So telling the students kind of as is, we're all adults, so like we should be able to understand and accept it. But obviously there are some that are, like you said as well, where they stand firm on their opinions. But honestly, we tell them as is. If there's nothing to do, then really there's nothing you can change their mind about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then,
But being honest with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then going back to the first question, so what is advocacy to you?
I'd say we would be the advocacy, the ones that would advocate for the students.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. We have only chance for one last question. Is there any question from the audience?
Hi, candidates. I'm a third-year student from SAS. Just want to ask something about the Telegram because I personally I'm still inside the WhatsApp group chat for this semester's SAS. So just wondering, because downloading Telegram might incur additional costs such as storage for us. So do you have any strategy of persuasion to convince us to download Telegram just to join the SAS group chat?
Okay, so I understand that the storage thing, because I struggle with that as well. But if we can, we're gonna try to do like a poll on Instagram, maybe ask the students what they prefer. Based on student feedback, we'll decide what should stay, because all these are like ideas that we have that we might, if it doesn't work out, we won't do it, because like it's a tried and tested with Telegram.
I understand.
And so,
Yeah, as Kara mentioned, because if we continue with the WhatsApp community, because as she said, there's a lot of assignment groups, there's a lot of club and societies groups, maybe in their personal groups. So like Telegram is more like a fresh and new for a student. So like if they click into Telegram, straight away is our message. So students will get our notification and what they should know more efficiently. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. With the end to Q&A, now we'll proceed to closing statements by the candidates.
thank you for providing us with the opportunity to present our vision for SAS. Kenny and I are deeply committed to creating a more inclusive, communicative, and supportive environment for all SAS students. We firmly believe that by working together, we can foster a stronger sense of community within SAS and ensure that every student's voice is heard and valued.
We are not just candidates, we are also your fellow students and friends. We are ready to learn and advocate for positive changes in our school. We look forward to your support and the opportunity to serve you as SAS representative in the future and make 2024 a fun and exceptional year at Monash with SAS. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the candidates and OBs from School of Arts and Social Sciences. After a 5-minute interval, we'll be back with School of Business. Thank you.